Daddy's back.
Yo, what's poppin', all my peeps? It is I, your host with the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back in the yard streams for another edition of the Smackdown Breakdown, presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And you can't have the Smackdown Breakdown without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's poppin', girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
You sound gorgeous today.
I know. I feel like I'm gonna have to explain it like throughout, or just randomly, because I'll say it at the top, and then people will come in later and be like, "What's up with your voice?" So I'm like, as if you can't tell. Like, do you think I'm just doing this on purpose? This is my impersonation.
Yeah, it's your sexy jazz singer voice. Like,
this is Phoebe on Phlegm.
yeah, and she sounded so sexy.
Yeah, well, in her mind, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
the people in the chat will probably think it's pretty nice if we know our peeps. So
maybe, I don't know.
We'll have to see. And I hope that our peeps tuned into this edition of Smackdown. You had your quarrels about it, and I did as well. The one thing I will say about it, though, is that it felt very compact. Like it was quality over quantity is what they were going for, because not a lot happened, but the things that did happen really laid some foundation for future things to be revealed and whatnot.
Yeah, I think it was very like storyline driven.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was just like the SmackDown equivalent of that. Like, I think Raw was like that like a week or two ago when we were saying that it was very story driven. I think this is kind of like SmackDown's version of that this week, which, I mean, I think for me, it's not that it was bad. I just think that, like, I didn't watch it on Friday, and then I started to watch it yesterday, and then I was like, okay, I can't stream today because I just don't feel good, and I stopped watching it. And then I started watching it again last night, but it was like I almost like had to make myself watch it. You know what I mean? Because it was like I already knew what happened, which I know every single week that SmackDown's on. But like there was just nothing that was like pulling me to be like, no, I really want to watch this. Like I just wasn't like thrilled with anything that I saw. So I was like, all right, like, some of the stuff we've been talking about happening. And then like, or, like with Randy, we knew that that's what should happen. So it's like some of it just like wasn't surprising to me. And that's why I was also like, man, okay, it is what it is. Like this stuff needed to happen. But
it felt like for a while before Triple H took over, week to week, you had no idea how you were going to feel after the shows.
Yeah.
And you were always wondering like where are they going to go from here, and actually have it be entertaining and make you want to tune in and week out. Where now we're actually seeing that like things are done slowly but better. Like for instance, with the Santos and Carlito feud, like that add another element to it where it's like, oh, okay, I didn't see this really happening, and even if I did, I didn't think they'd pull through with it, and they did. So it's a lot of like rewarding the fans for the better for watching it instead of just pushing your own agenda.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure.
So let's kick things off with a little Bianca Belair continuing her feud with Damage Control. Which, before you go on it, Sara, I don't know if you sent this to me or you haven't seen it, whatever, but the peeps.
No, I saw it. I already know what you're gonna say.
Okay, well the peeps don't know, so I'm gonna address my peeps here. So, since the inception of Damage Control, their number one enemy has been Bianca Belair. She has been feuding with them since the inception of Damage Control, and they've been around for like a year.
Over a year. Yeah, almost a year and a half.
It's crazy. They're still intertwined. It's just crazy.
Well, and I think I mean, we know that part of that is also because Bianca took time off, you know, but I think that is kind of crazy to think about it, because it's like, how has it gone on this long? And I think part of it is that it hasn't been like super interesting. So it's like crazy to think that a feud has been going on for almost a year and a half, and it's like, and this is where we're at, you know, like it's not the bloodline something, you know, where there's been a lot of like twists and turns. And then also I think it speaks a lot to how much belief that Triple H had in Damage Control, because you know, it might have been a vision that Bailey had, but it didn't feel like for a while that it was something that was going to last as long as it has. And so I think the fact that we're almost, like I said, almost a year and a half into it, and they're still going, and now we're kind of seeing how they're going to like dissolve and become something else, or Bailey's going to do something different, you know, like something like that. I think that I don't know, it's crazy, because I don't even know how long ago it was that we were predicting the end of Damage Control, and it's been months and months since we said that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so Bianca starts off the show, and basically all she does is come out there and just like, it's a continuation of the feud, of course. Like nothing she said was shocking, nothing was new. Like it was just kind of like, all right, we get it. And so it was
Like, she wants her
basically,
title back.
yeah, it was a continuation of the feud with Damage Control, and then just a way to keep like the tension growing within Damage Control. That's basically all this was. So as Bianca's talking, of course, Damage Control comes out, but they come out without Bailey, which was like, oh, okay. Yeah, so that was shocking. And then Bianca's just like, oh, you know, like whatever, I have people with me too. And that is when Charlotte and Shotzi come out. And then they all just brawl, whatever. We see that Bianca is gonna face Kyrie, and later we see some drama within Damage
Question
Control as
though, before we get into that, Shotzi came out and whatever she said on the mic, it feels like we're getting a new Shotzi, and one that is not this chaotic, erratic horror film character, nonetheless. But now we're getting the actual sports entertainer, wrestler, whatever you want to call her, of Shotzi, where she's actually coming into her own. And I don't know. I could see a little bit of a push of Shotzi in the near future.
well, I think they've definitely laid the groundwork for that, because I mean, they don't just throw anybody to team with Charlotte, Bianca, and Becky, you know. So I feel like that kind of tells you the direction they're trying to go with. I think the biggest thing with Shotzi is that she's not really like incredible at anything right now, and I say that in a respectful way. I'm saying like she's not like incredible in the ring and then not a good talker, or vice versa. She's just kind of like okay, like in both. And so I think that made it makes it a little bit more difficult for her to get like a massive push. But I also think, and we've said this about like Austin Theory, for example, I think with Shotzi, they were kind of relying too much on like what she looked like to be enough of like a character, and didn't really give her a character to try and portray. And so I feel like that's why she's kind of floundered, because it was so reliant on like, oh yeah, like she's tattooed and she's got green hair and like she likes metal and whatever, and it's
comes
like,
out on the
okay,
tank, like
yeah, but it's like, that's okay. Like that's not a character. That's not a gimmick. You know, I think that they were going too much with I don't know her real name, but it felt like that was how they were trying to present her. And she's too new in the business to be able to accomplish that in the right way. And that's the same thing like we've said with Austin Theory. Like he's not naturally good at being a bad guy. And that's why he's like not really over as a bad guy. But yeah, so I think that it's interesting. I'm curious to see what they end up doing with Shotzi, because I think that they are kind of pulling it back a little bit with what they were trying to do. You know, when she first shaved her head, it felt like they were trying to go full Joker with her. And now it is, scaled back a bit. And it's like they can't do that too much, like I said, because you need her to be able to like show you that she can act and like, you know, not rely on the fact that she has spiky hair and she wears black lipstick. It's like, okay, like
Yeah.
that's not enough of a character, but
no, there's no difference there.
and it's not setting her up to be successful. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
not at all.
if she had if she were, and I mean this in a respectful way also, if she were in the same situation as like Baron Corbin, who had been given chance after chance after chance and like, you know, changed the character multiple times and still just kind of there, then I could be like, okay, you know, whatever, this is just what they're doing. But she's not there yet. So
no, not at all.
Anyway, okay, and then after this little segment, we see later in the show, well, after this, Bailey saying, okay, well, since Kyrie had, no, I'm sorry, Dakota tells Bailey, what?
Backstage, damage control. You missed that part.
That's what I'm trying to say.
After the run-in?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that they're talking about Kyrie having a match with Bianca, and Dakota tells Bailey, who's like off to the side, like all awkwardly, and I felt so bad. That, you know, she should help Kyrie because out of all of them, she is the most familiar with Bianca and knows her better than anyone. And it, you know, trying to get Kyrie to be on board too. Like, yeah, like Bailey can help you. And you could tell she just did not care. And they're going with the same thing that Shinsuke's been doing, where like going kind of heel by not even speaking English. It's like they don't even care enough to even say anything for you to understand.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
I think the way they're going about this so far is the right way. Like I can't imagine many people were watching and didn't feel bad for Bailey. So I think everybody can put themselves in her shoes in some capacity. You know what I mean?
1000%. It's the worst feeling in the world when someone is talking shit about you in front of your face, but in a different language. And they're reacting and giggling. And usually you feel when that's happening, it's good. Complete opposite. And that's what I like right now about this tension and damage control is that you have the creator of it, Bailey, being kind of kicked to the side because she's the odd man out. You have Kyrie, Io, and Asuka who all worked in the Japanese scene, whatnot. You have Dakota in there who I would say is just a nice middle person between Bailey and the other three. But obviously they like her better, whatnot, that dynamic. And it's just so interesting how they're going to go about this because Bailey's still all about damage control and they're all getting very clicky, like she's not the person. And they made a comment last night on commentary that if you go back and watch the footage, Bailey's the MVP of War Games. I think we even said it on here last episode or breakdown, whatever. But she was. And that's what makes it even, I would say, more emotionally investing for the viewer is that you see Bailey. It's not the heel Bailey of, hey, idiot, ding dong, hello. It's the kind of babyface element of Bailey that we're getting with this. No, like, I'm part of it, guys. Like, I'm here with the team. Look what I did for the team. And, all that. And it's, I love the dynamic right now of it. And it's really helping Smackdown. It's like it's easily the best thing on Smackdown.
And I'm wondering what is going to happen like with Dakota, because you kind of felt like Dakota and Bailey were, their own little group, like the two of them was like a little team there, but it doesn't look like Dakota's on Team Bailey. Like they were kind of making it seem like she was in the middle, kind of, on SmackDown, just being like, oh, Bailey, like you should help Kyrie. And it was like, but it didn't seem very nice in a way, or like, hey, like, why are you standing over there by yourself? But it was like, you don't really care. You just think that it's awkward. You know what I mean? So I wonder how that's going to go down, because I mean, we could even eventually see Dakota versus Bailey. And the thing is it's hard to say when Dakota's gonna be back, because she said she's not
She's not even
like
close to being cleared.
she's not close. Yeah. So I saw a lot of people thinking that this might lead to an eventual like Bailey versus Io for the title, maybe, or something like that at WrestleMania. And then of course there's all the people that have mentioned the possibility of Sasha coming back, or Mercedes Monet, whatever you want to say.
It's happening.
And and that she could be, Team Bailey, which I would think would be interesting too, because it would be her taking a back seat to Bailey, which is not something that she's ever had to do. It's always been Bailey taking a back seat, or Becky taking a back seat to Sasha and to Charlotte. So I think that would be interesting. But again, I think that that would be wild. Like, if you want to give Bailey a huge moment at Mania, giving her a title match at WrestleMania and having like Sasha in her corner, girl. I mean, Bailey deserves that. You know what I mean? Like, she hasn't had that moment. Sasha has had that moment. Everyone's going to remember Sasha versus Bianca. Everyone's going to remember Becky and, winning Becky 2 belts, like everyone's going to remember those moments. But I feel like this is setting it up for a perfect opportunity to finally give Bailey her proper flowers,
And we saw, obviously Charlotte was the cream of the crop for them, coming out, and they wanted to make her the biggest star. Sasha Banks, it was inevitable. Like, she just had it. It was happening whether the creative fans, whoever, liked it or not. Becky worked her way in there because she made the most out of a shit situation, and she developed this man thing. The next person to do that and get their flowers and get their moment is Bailey. So the way things have been going, you've had 3 out of the 4 have their WrestleMania moment, their, Mount Rushmore moment, we'll say, for historic purposes. The one that hasn't had that is Bailey. She's been really kind of fed to the side, off to the side, always in the back corner. Yeah, she was, I think the pandemic era of her and Sasha controlling that was the start of it, catalyst of it. But now with how things are going, you could have Bailey be an incredible face on SmackDown, and I like a John Cena type of role, and go back to, ultra babyface. I mean, look at her interactions already with the live crowds as a heel. Imagine if that was her grabbing the side and being a good guy. You need that moment with Bailey, and they're doing it right now. They're planting the seeds for it. Getting Sasha is like the fish in the barrel, nail in the coffin, shooting Bailey to the moon.
It's funny too, though, because if you think about Bailey turning face, they need to find somebody, or I don't know, decide to they have like no top woman, like full blown heel on SmackDown. Like, Damage Control is supposed to be there, but they're not perceived that way. Like, they don't get booed out the building and whatever, so I'm like, that would be interesting, because then all of their top girls basically on SmackDown would be baby faces.
Yeah,
That's
but
like
if
crazy.
Damage Control turned on Bailey, then they would be the ultimate heels.
I know, but I'm saying they have to go full blown with it, which they haven't been doing well with these other people who have been turning. So it's like they have to do something to get that heel heat on them. Otherwise, why would people care? They were just booing Bailey for so long. You know what I mean? Like, they'll have to do something to get them to be hated. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Then we get to the first match.
You want to get some comments first?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
Vinny in the house.
Hello.
And
I am sick, in case anybody doesn't know, since now you guys are here. My voice sounds like this because I'm sick again.
Now and then David turning heel says Shotzi's kind of mid. She's a character outline, not a character. Ooh, I like that. I like the way you describe that. Character outline. I don't believe her when she's in the ring. I don't believe she can win a match. Well, and why is that? Because of how they've made you perceive her with how they're booking her and whatnot. Because I would agree in that sense. Where now, if you put her in a singles match, I'd have an inkling she could win it, and it'd be a little serious.
I think it just goes back to what I already said. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that she just doesn't have a real character or anything. And so it's hard for people to really get invested in somebody who, first of all, up until recently had been kind of sporadically just showing up on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And then, she doesn't have anything for people to care about, really. So, like,
There's
people aren't going to care either way.
They aren't. Hello, Sarah Marshall. All right, I'll fuck myself. I'm recovering from our Patriots, but excited for Raw.
Me
Damn
too.
it, it's gonna be good.
I didn't watch the Patriots today though, so.
Sarah, you could have. You didn't have to. It was
Yeah,
the
no,
same exact. It was. Just,
no, I know. That's why I didn't watch.
I can't even talk
Oh.
about it. I would rather so much more talk about wrestling. And yes, Nathaniel, I am also as excited. No, I don't know if he's gonna win. I don't think Adam Copeland will beat Christian Cage for the title next week, but I am excited for that match. I'm very hyped to see the Patriarch.
Okay,
Speaking of daddy, you have to what?
I have to tell you this. So the
Oh, okay.
Patriots actually have an increased chance of getting the number 1 overall pick.
Oh,
I know. Jeff Howe just said the Patriots now have the strength of schedule edge over the Panthers, which could cause a massive swing at the top of the draft order if Carolina and New England finish with the same record.
that's MHJ. Not even close.
No, if they get first overall, I don't know that they're going MHJ.
I know they're not, but they could pull a Celtics, trade down and get MHJ. That would be.
They can't trade down and get MHJ either. Let's stop. There's only like 2 quarterbacks that are going like in the top 5.
I don't want a quarterback. I want Baker Mayfield.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. We're not even having that conversation. Okay. Let's
Baker
move
Mayfield
on.
is him, Sarah.
No. All right.
All right, well,
so we see Bobby Lashley versus Pete Dunne in the first match. And first of all, I love that Bobby's in a match because we've really only seen him be, like the mentor, the manager for quite a while since they've been doing the Suit Profits thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm glad that he was in a match, and he starts it off by mocking Pete because Pete wanted the match, and he's like, I'm gonna snap you in half, like this was foolish, blah blah blah. And for the most part we see him just dominate him. But I, in normally I would take issue with that, just because it's like I don't understand it. However, we know that there's a bigger purpose here. So Bobby defeats him, and then they start beating him up, whatever. But the biggest thing, other than before we get to Pete Dunne, okay, the biggest thing and the reason why I say Bobby Lashley is him is because how is this man 47 years old and still doing that? Like, this is the thing. I don't want to take shots at Roman Reigns, just for the sake of taking shots at Roman Reigns. But there are instances where I watch somebody and I'm watching Bobby Lashley, and it's hard to not compare their wrestling to Roman, because it's like when you think of like Roman's been champion for 3.5 years, right? What match would you say, like, you can't think of a match that you would say he did really well in, other than that one with the last man standing with Brock and the tractor and this and that. Like, that was great. Okay, but how well did he wrestle in that one? You know what I mean? Like, most of his matches are not memorable because they're doing the same thing over and over again. And it's not even like the excuse of like, oh, he's a bigger guy, so yeah, he's not a high flyer, he's not this, he's not that. But look at Lashley. Like, Lashley's not flying around, but he's 47 years old and still going out there and killing it and like making you want to watch. And he was in a match with a dude that's like, 3 of him would equal 1 Bobby. So for me, it just is like, it just sometimes can get frustrating because I'm like, I would much rather watch a Bobby Lashley title run right now. Like, that
I'd be for it.
That would be much more entertaining. At least you couldn't like predict the finish of all of his matches. You know what I mean?
I know
Like,
it is getting pretty ridiculous how you just open Twitter and they just know the script.
yeah, well, it's
The
because
script's
it's
the
not
script's been released.
yeah, everyone's known for the past 3 years. You've known, like it's to that point. So,
Very Hulk
Lashley,
Hogan.
yeah, and so I was just it was cool to see Lashley because like this is why he deserves to be wrestling a lot more. But again,
Agreed.
they need to do a better job at making them full blown heels. I feel like they've tried and they've tried. I don't think they've tried hard enough, but I also feel like it might not work with them
It might.
because the Street Profits are so loved. And I feel like Bobby can go heel. Like Bobby doesn't
Easy.
usually
He's
have
done it before.
yeah.
Look at his TNA run when he was the belt collector. That was
Well,
a massive
also
heel run.
the Hurt Business, if we even want to
I
talk
mean, the
about
Hurt
like
Business, if you want to go
yeah.
there too.
I think it's him being paired with the Street Profits that is making it more difficult to make him a heel, and not because they're not doing well, but it's because it's because people love the Street Profits, and then Montez is just like so naturally likable that it's like even when he's supposed to be being bad, it's like you're entertained and you're enjoying it. So it's like, okay, I can't boo you because
Did you hear his trash talk during the match?
Yes, when he started like hysterically laughing, but like sarcastically or whatever
He goes,
when he was laughing afterwards.
it looks like the
Mhm.
extended Black Friday. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. So that's what I'm saying. It's like,
so good. Like, it's so good. Oh.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's like it's hard for people to hate that, So, I think they definitely need to do a better job if that's what they're trying to do, but maybe they just realize that it's failed. I don't know. But since we were talking about Pete Dunne, because we don't acknowledge the other guy, aka his other name.
We don't acknowledge. We don't talk about the Brute.
Yeah. So I find this to be interesting that they seem to be ending the Brawling Brutes. What I thought was more interesting was I don't know, I think it was Graves that mentioned like, oh, he hasn't been able to find Sheamus for months. And I'm like, are we just gonna pretend like Sheamus isn't hurt or something and that's why he's out? Like, are we just gonna act like
if
he just
we're gonna
stopped showing up?
if we're gonna bring kayfabe back and that's how we're doing it, I'm so fine with it.
Because I'm so confused, but it's fine.
We need kayfabe, Sarah. That's what makes wrestling. You need some element of kayfabe in there.
Yeah. So they do ask Pete about Ridge because last week we saw Ridge walk out in the middle of their tag match, and it's kind of like, all right, whatever. He knows that he's done. You know what I mean? Like he knows that he's gonna be the Janetti of the Brawling Brutes.
Just getting ahead of it.
He's just like, peace out. And he says that he doesn't know what's going on with him, but he's there to fight and blah blah blah. And I'm like, we need a deeper character arc for you. Okay, we cannot just have you being like, I'm here to fight. Like that's not enough. But anyway, my Kings, they just walk up and they decide that they're going to make his life even worse.
Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Yes, boy!
I'm waiting to address your comment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was letting you take care of that. I knew you'd be offended by that, Sarah.
So they come up and they're basically just mocking him, making fun of him for being alone and like having no team and that they all left him, blah blah blah. And then Pete ends up trying to like beat them up, but obviously there's two of them and one of him, so they get the better of him. And I enjoyed it, but I also thought it was kind of random because I'm like, we're talking about Bianca versus Damage Control being, something that's gone on and on and on and on. Pretty Deadly versus the Brawling Brutes has been going on and on and on and on. Not nearly as long, but since they were drafted to SmackDown, that's basically all we've been seeing. And I don't know what they'll do with that. I don't know if this was just like an instance where it was like, okay, this is the way to sum up their tag team feud, because we're not going to just see Elton versus Pete. You know what I mean? So I don't know what they're going to be doing. I don't know what Pretty Deadly's going to be doing. I don't know what Pete's going to be doing, but I'm intrigued because I think it's about time that they move on from the Brawling Brutes.
Oh, it's about time that everyone has moved on from the Brawling Brutes. Pretty Deadly, the fans, even Pete Dunne. And by Pete Dunne, I mean Pete Dunne. He needs to become that guy again. and
Mhm.
evolve back into who he was in NXT UK, and just that what was it, the brawling, he was like, he had a name, I can't think of it right now. The point is, like, go back to that just brutal
The bruiser
wrestle.
weight.
The bruiserweight, thank you, it was the bruiserweight. You got to go back to the bruiserweight. That's the shift that we're seeing right now happen in WWE with Triple H taking over. He wants guys like that. Like, have Pete Dunne go after Gunther, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, he needs to be fighting guys like that. I saw
He's
comment
on
on
Raw.
Twitter, guys like that he needs to go after. And you need to elevate Tyler Bate back up to Smack, or not back up, but up to SmackDown, because what is he doing in NXT? Nothing. And he would be more of a service to you on the main roster than he is in NXT, and he helps Pete Dunne get back to being Pete Dunne.
I agree. I guess before answering Vinny's question, I want to understand, why do you think they're mid? What is so mid about them?
Oh,
I would like, before I go in on why you're wrong, I want to know.
choose your words carefully, Vinny.
I
There.
just want to, I just want to know why.
And while Vinny, you think of that answer, and you're talking to the Queen of Pretty Deadly here, so choose your words wisely. But the Kingdom Eraser, 2 small questions. If you could be blessed by technical wrestling gods, whose skills would you want?
Ooh.
Kurt Angle comes to mind. I'm gonna go for my own Samoa Joe. I want Samoa Joe and Zack Sabre Jr. Like a combination
I'm
of
kind
those
of
would be
surprised you didn't
sick.
say, okay, Kevin Owens. Like, why wouldn't you
He's
just
not
say
a
Kevin?
technical wrestler though.
Well, but
Like,
I
he's a
mean,
brawler.
if only you're a technical wrestler. But I mean, who's like a well-known technical woman?
Natalia comes up to mind.
Yeah, but see, she's boring to me.
I think
I
Liv's getting there.
Liv.
Is getting there. Like, she's really working on her craft.
I mean, I don't know.
Athena's pretty
I was trying
good.
to think of women, but like,
Athena's not bad. There's a couple in AEW that are
I guess
pretty
I
good.
mean, if I just had to go off, I'm not gonna think about technical. If I had to go off skills or something, then it's like probably like Becky or Trish or something. Maybe
Yeah.
Becky, because she's more like new, you know what I mean?
And then for the first wrestler you want on the podcast, we technically did have a wrestler, the good pal of the champ of the peeps. His name is the Victorious BRG, Brett Ryan Gosling. So we had him on. That's in the archives. Go check that out. He's on Victorious BRG on Twitter, Instagram, all that. But big time wrestler, I would have to go. I mean, the easy ones. KO just right off the bat. I think it'd be a great interview.
I would say Cody Rhodes.
That's the next one.
Because he's so easy to talk to and he's such a nice human. And I could bond with him emotionally, I feel like.
You could. I think so. Adam Cole would be another one. I listened to Adam Cole on the Extreme Life Matt Hardy. Adam Cole is a fantastic interview. And yeah, so. All right, here's Vinny's answer. They have no fan connection, none. They'll be like a hit row gone soon.
How are they supposed to have fan connection if they're heels though? They're not supposed to. And the thing is though, they're not like Hit Row, because Hit Row, I feel like we're kind of like one dimensional. It was kind of just like, all right, they're like a rap group kind of. Like, I don't think that they really had the same like chemistry together. I wouldn't be surprising if Swerve leaving was a big reason why they flopped. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, they still believe in BFAB because she's still around. But I think that Pretty Deadly, the main reason why and I'm not saying this is what you believe, Vinny, but I think a lot of people have an issue with the fact that they're flamboyant. They have an issue with their music. They have an issue with their ring gear and their clothing, and they can't really look beyond that, because if you actually listen to them or if you even watch videos and clips or whatever of them in NXT, they're so charismatic, naturally hilarious, and they're really good in the ring. So I think I think part of maybe why maybe they're not gaining more fans is because we haven't really seen them involved in a really solid storyline since they were brought to SmackDown. They've kind of just like jumped around and then like kept revisiting the Brawling Brutes, but then it was like they weren't fighting for anything. It's just another reason why they need to break up the tag titles, because all these tag teams on SmackDown are basically doing nothing. And they're falling victim to that, I would say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. All right. What do you got, Sarah, next?
Santos Escobar basically gets a
Yes.
squash match with Joaquin Wilde, which, you know, again, normally I wouldn't be here for it, but this is the way that they have to go with Santos, you know? So he goes against one of his crew guys, his LWO crewmates, and you know, Joaquin Wilde, you know who he looks like a guy from TNA to me. And I can't remember what his name was, but he was like DJ something. He was like a DJ. And I can't remember.
He's a DJ.
Now I have to look at it because he always reminds me. TNA. Yeah, it was like, was it DJ? Was it? Oh my God! It is him.
Oh,
DJ
it's the same
Z? Oh my God! DJ
It's the same
Z.
person?
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh, that's hilarious. Wait, what was the name?
DJ Z. Oh my God. How did I? Okay, so I wasn't
No
wrong.
way.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So like every time I saw him, I was like, this dude looks like DJ. I didn't know. I couldn't remember his name. I knew it was DJ something. I couldn't remember but oh my God, I did not realize that was him. That's so crazy.
Joaquin
Do you remember
Wilde's real name is Michael Paris.
I know. Isn't that
the
weird?
LWO. Oh, that's funny.
But anyway, I thought that was okay. That's
37.
That just blew my mind. But anyway,
What year was
so
he in TNA?
this was the epitome of a squash match. I guess it lasted a little bit longer than a squash match. But after, of course, Santos goes after him and is just like jumping him, whatever. And this is when things get amazing. And Dragon Lee is being inserted into this LWO program, and I am here for it, especially because Rey Mysterio is out now. So they had to do something to like continue this, because they basically started it and then it could have come to an abrupt end because Rey got hurt and now we know he's going to be gone for God knows how many months. So I love that Dragon Lee is being elevated into his spot, and I love that people are finally paying attention to what Dragon Lee is doing, to the point of them chanting Dragon Lee.
It's awesome.
Because we have seen, you know, his matches in recent weeks that have started and, you know, kind of stayed kind of quiet for the most part, even though he's a phenomenal performer. So I'm glad that they're like going full force with him and that people are finally like, oh yeah, no, this dude is legit. He's really entertaining in the ring. And did you see that video? You did. I sent it to you. The video of him at the live show, and he switched masks with a child.
That was
I'm sorry.
so adorable.
That kid, that is going to be like one of the best moments of his life, because like luchadors do not just do that with anybody. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just swap masks with anybody.
No.
Like, it's a sign of respect, as we know, but like it's a huge deal in their culture. So it's like the fact that he did that with a child who was wearing a Rey Mysterio mask, incredible. I'm like, see, push this guy to the moon, dude. Like, you've been looking for years and years and years for your new Rey Mysterio. You finally found your new Rey Mysterio. Like, and I don't mean a replacement, but you know what I mean? Like the next Rey Mysterio.
No. The next babyface, lucha, underdog, all that. Yes. What's crazy to me is how he was someone that WWE outbid AEW for.
Thank God, though.
Like,
Thank God.
And usually I would be like, oh, I don't know what. No, he would have got lost in the shuffle, and he'd be on Rampage and Collision in AEW. Now in WWE, he has the opportunity to be a main player on SmackDown. Like, that is a huge deal.
And I think that is something that would have only happened under Triple H,
1,000%.
because
1,000%.
we can give credit to Vince for everything that he did for Rey Mysterio's career, obviously, and it started in WCW, so it's not like we can say he's a
He originated
born
it.
and bred WWE guy.
Mhm.
But we've seen time and time again through the years, anytime that they brought in anyone that was even remotely similar to Ray, they never did anything. Vince never wanted to do anything with them. And it feels like we know that he, didn't appreciate the smaller wrestlers. And so that, I'm sure, played an impact on his decision making there. But I think that, the Dragon Lee to WWE thing was the perfect timing, because I think if this
Perfect
happened
timing.
5 years ago, we wouldn't be talking about him right now.
No, he would have got lost in trouble for sure.
And he's so incredible. Oh my God. I texted you the video. I'm so obsessed with him. I'm obsessed. He's just along the list of my obsessions,
Mhm.
So yay, Dragon Lee. Then we move on to Logan Paul, who finally showed up for work as being champion. So that was cool, I guess.
Before
And
Roman.
yeah, I know, right? But he was only gone for a month. I mean,
only a month.
Logan. Yeah, I mean, he was only gone since Crown Jewel. Logan, or did Roman even show up to Crown Jewel? No.
No, he didn't. No, he did not show up to Crown Jewel.
So
Logan
is like Logan
he
is
fought,
did he?
he fought LA Knight.
Oh, LA Knight, that's right. But he hasn't shown up since then. So, and before that, he was gone since SummerSlam. So I can't really I can't give him credit. He's like, Logan is my champion. Ew, it's disgusting. But anyway,
Logan's my champion.
Yeah, you're disgusting. Anyway,
I'm
so
sorry.
I don't want to talk about anything.
You don't want to talk about his great promo?
Nope.
But he was great.
So, no. So we're talking about nope.
Okay.
No, this is the thing. So he announces that he's going to have a number 1 contenders tournament. And do you remember when we talked about how that needed to be how he did that?
Oh, you mean we
talked
predicted
about
it?
that. Yes, but I can't remember if it was us or if it was a comment. We had talked about this though.
Well, and the good news is it happened on our show, so
yeah, so I would have to go back and look, but we were saying that how does he go about this? And I'm saying he doesn't really have any feuds because Ray is hurt now, so that isn't going to work. And then the LWO is in flux right now, so it's not like he was going to do that. So we were talking about how the best way possible for him to do this would be to do a tournament. And so I am very excited that he announced this, and he announced that the participants will be Bobby Lashley, Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, Kevin Owens, Dragon Lee, Karrion Kross, Santos Escobar, and a mystery NXT superstar, which I'm very curious to see who that will end up being, and you believe that it will be Carmelo Hayes.
Oh yeah. No, I'll just get to this comment. What NXT superstars you think will be in the? Here's my thing. Okay, it's very easy. It's gonna be Carmelo Hayes. This is how you do it. All right, booking 101 with the champ. Carmelo is the random NXT guy because of everything that played out on NXT. How you see the footage and it's not Melo. Could you see Lexus go in there? Boom, Lexus Trick feud, boom, gets Melo off there. Trick does his own thing, whatnot. Melo has no need to be in NXT anymore. I'm sorry, he doesn't. He's too big. There's no reason for it. So you bring him up, you have him win the tournament, and then having him beat Logan Paul. It does exactly what you wanted with the US title and getting it out there to different external promotions and businesses and whatnot outside of the WWE realm. He's bringing it everywhere, which is probably the best thing he could do as champion, just bring it everywhere. And then you legitimize it again by having him in a fight with Carmelo Hayes. Are you kidding me? That match would slap, and he gets Melo on SmackDown, gets him a champion in his first run on main roster. It brings back the legitimacy of the US title. I mean, just
but do you really think that this is a setup for Logan to lose?
As long as he beats Logan Paul for it, maybe he beats Carmelo the first time some bullshit way. But then as long as it goes to at least 2 or 3 matches, because this, I'm sorry, but Logan Paul is good enough in the ring and entertaining where if you had him in multiple matches against somebody, I'm for it.
No, I know, but I just don't know that I see anyone taking the title off him right now. Like I don't know.
It sets up a feud with Mello, and then
Yeah, but you're not thinking that the next pay-per-view isn't until the Royal Rumble, so they would have to do all of this on random Smackdowns. And what was the point of giving Logan the US title to then just take it off of him?
so he could bring it everywhere that he's not WWE, and then
Yeah, but
the next
he's not
pay-per-view
even
is the Royal Rumble, then you could have Mello win at the Royal Rumble.
but he's not even been doing that. No one is talking about Logan Paul like when he's not on TV. Like it's not
Yeah, but he's
happening. Like
brought it to everywhere
but
he's gone. Like
but how is that benefiting them if no one's talking about it?
it benefits him. What do you mean nobody's talking? It's getting
Literally
eyes on
no
the
one has
product.
talked. Not really. I'm saying the first like week that he won, it was like that was where he was seen at like the UFC fight and at the pawn shop and whatever. He hasn't really been doing anything since then. So it's like he's not being pictured out like doing all these things. Like that's not happening anymore.
One on
So
Fox, I don't know.
if he's going around with the US title, it's not being reported. So that's what I'm saying. Like I don't really think that that's happening. But
Okay.
I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that he's losing, but I mean, it could be something that they try to hold out until the Royal Rumble, but then doing this tournament doesn't feel like there's enough people in it to hold out to the Rumble. But I don't know.
would like to
Maybe
see Karrion Kross win it too, or at least get a win in the
but
tournament.
he's against Bobby, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know why they had him against Bobby first. That
Well,
was
maybe
so
they'll
dumb.
have him go over Bobby because Bobby's been in the US title picture enough. We do not need.
And they could have Bobby lose and still be strong.
Yeah.
Who do you face? Pete Dunne could go after him because he lost and called him. Like you could start a little bit of a feud there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I don't know, but it's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I don't really have any ideas of who the NXT person could be either. Like, Carmelo Hayes makes sense. I mean, I don't know, Braun Breaker maybe, but he's a heel right now, so that doesn't make any sense.
And Braun Breaker needs me on Raw. Like he's a Raw guy to me.
Oh my god, him versus CM Punk. Oh my god. That would be one of the times where I would actually be like rooting for CM Punk, just like kick his ass. Like he's just so annoying. Just like kick his ass.
You don't like Braun Breaker?
No, I find him to be very annoying. I think it's also like his voice. Like his voice.
I'm not even surprised that you're not a Braun Breaker fan.
No, I just
not even.
No.
Hoof, hoof.
No, the only one who can do any kind of barking and I'm okay with it is Titus O'Neil. He's the only one.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Ora. That is okay. Because it's like not really a dog. It's like, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I don't know really. I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that they sit on for a little bit until they decide. Because like no one's really going to be chomping at the bit to figure out who it is. You know what I mean? So it's like they can wait. But I feel like if they are going to make it a mystery, then it feels like it makes the most sense for it to be a guy of Carmelo Hayes's caliber. You know what I mean? And I don't know that there's not that many guys that are at his level right now in NXT that feel like they should be on the main roster right now. You know, like it's felt like Carmelo should be on the main roster. Most people thought he was going to be drafted. 6-7 months ago whenever they did it, and then he wasn't. The same thing with like Braun Breaker, that we thought that was happening and it wasn't. Yeah. I don't really know that there's anyone else that I would say is like at that level that it makes it seem like it would make more sense than it being Carmelo. You know what I mean? Like,
quick thoughts before we go to the next topic. Thoughts on Dijak?
I don't really have many thoughts.
Oh, okay. Honestly. I think he's just really underrated. Like he could be someone where if they brought him up, like, oh, okay, that's cool, but it would not have the same excitement level of a guy like Carmelo Hayes.
I have a question about the tournament.
Yes.
How do you feel about LA Knight not being included?
Fine. It shows that LA Knight's bigger than the US title right now.
Like, do you think it's because they have bigger plans for him?
Yes, 1,000%.
Because I'm just wondering, like, I mean, we've talked about it, and I believe it too, that LA Knight feels bigger than the US title. I don't know that I could say that about the Intercontinental title, but that's just because of the obviously discrepancy between the value of both of them at the moment. But I'm just not sure how I feel about like excluding him from that completely, and mostly that's because they're not going through with rematches or anything of him with Roman. And so it's like, once again, a guy that's really talented and deserves to be on the top is being held back because other stories are being prioritized, which, you know, if it is going to inevitably be Roman versus Cody, then I'm not saying LA Knight story deserves to trump that. I don't mean that, but it also is like, okay, well then maybe he should be considered to be like a champion. Like maybe the US title isn't too big for him in that sense, because then at least you're rewarding somebody, you know? And it's like, at this point, like, it was shocking to me that they didn't even have him on until the very last second of SmackDown. So it's like, yeah, because they don't have anything for him, but at least if he was in this, it would be something.
Maybe, yeah. It's very interesting to me how they're using him right now, but with how over he is, I just don't see them not utilizing him at all.
Yeah.
Maybe like feuding with Solo and keeps him with the bloodline. Like if you feud with Solo, that's fine.
I guess.
And it keeps him within the bloodline story and keeps him in the main picture. So
yeah.
Right with that.
All right. Did you want to get to some comments?
Yeah, we have this guy saying KO wins the tournament. Don't know about that because of his broken hand or fractured hand.
No, he was at a house show though, wasn't he, on Saturday?
Oh, he was. He was at the holiday tour in
think so.
Bangor. Oh, okay.
I think so. I think he was there.
We have another person. Ultra Boy wants KO to win. Me too, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Logan is not the Logan is not the US to the NXT star. Okay. Logan is not losing to the US to an NXT star. There
Yeah.
it is. Okay.
I think I can see that being a fair argument, just given like if you're trying to, I guess, like more legitimize Logan, but at the same time, I feel like I don't know that if it was a guy like Carmelo Hayes that anyone would look down upon him for taking the title off Logan. Like I don't think anyone would be like, Logan lost to Carmelo Hayes, ha ha ha. You know, it's not like, I don't think that people view him as just an NXT guy. It's like, no, Carmelo has been like the face of that brand for quite a while now. So I don't think it would get that same reaction, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Watch we get Baron Corbin in the US title tournament. That would be such a slap in the face, but so funny.
Ew. That would be like,
we're so hyped and it's just fucking Baron Corbin.
I totally forgot about him too. Like that would make sense. I mean, if they're trying to get him out of NXT anyway. You know?
I think low-key he's the one who attacked Trick Williams. That's always been I thought it was always Baron Corbin, but
yeah.
Whatever. Hey Pitts, do you want to see CM Punk versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 40? Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
I know they keep like revisiting that now.
You're gonna sit here and tell me that in my first WrestleMania ever, I'm going to get to see Stone Cold Steve Austin versus CM Punk? That alone, the electricity in that arena or a stadium at this point, it'll be off the charts. I'm gonna just be in a euphoric state. And then I don't care what night it is, we're gonna get even better competition better matches that night too. Oh my god, that's gonna be like the dessert to the whole meal.
I think that I would be more on board with this match than people who are demanding that CM Punk main events one night.
You can't main event.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
It's
like
not main eventing.
I understand right now where, you know, a lot of the people that are saying that are kind of just like in, you know, they're pink clouding. You know, it's like everything is so great right now because because they're just so excited over the fact that CM Punk is back. So like they just want everything, you know, they want him to win the Royal Rumble and they want him to face Roman Reigns and they want him to main event night 1 or night 2 and they want him to dethrone Roman. It's like everything possible they want him to do, but they're not thinking about like the bigger picture and the fact that he doesn't need to do any of that, and nor does that really benefit the company. Like he doesn't have to main event to be a draw, first of all. And imagine how many more people would be looking forward to a CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin match as opposed to like a CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Like both are going to be great, but hello, it's CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, something that we thought we were going to get 10 years ago. You know, like if that is what ends up happening and it's at Mania 40, I feel like you have to do it at Mania 40. You know?
Sarah, I can't stop smiling because it's a legitimate possibility that
I
we are
know.
going to get to see Stone. Because here's the thing, it's not only just one entrance or one person coming out. You're like, oh, it's the glass shattering that you're gonna feel just overload of emotions.
Yeah.
And then depending on who, if he comes out first or second, you still have the TV static into live and living color, cult of personality.
Yeah.
I before the match even starts, you're already, you're
I
so
know.
high up,
Well,
and it
I
doesn't even
know.
matter what they do. They could
I
have a
know.
15-minute match and just walking around the ring, just like old people beating each other up, like a movie scene, like whatnot. I don't care as long as someone goes through a table, a GTS is attempted, and then a Stone Cold Stunner is hit. I don't care how the match goes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
not exciting. 10 years too late. You get with it.
I think
Get freaking with
I
it.
mean, I understand that
No.
argument, but the reason why I even am saying like I think it could happen is because everyone is bringing it back up, and it was such a fantasy booked match that they were hinting at the possibility of that happening. And of course, it's like the straight edge guy versus the beer drinker. Like there's just like, and then they have the history of that. Like the layers of that from when Punk was around 10 plus years ago. So
Yeah.
I think that is something they could do, and it's the way that they can get Stone Cold involved in Mania 40 without it feeling like too much of a stretch, because I think sometimes when they try to bring a legend in, they're trying really too hard to figure out a way to get it to happen, and a lot of the time it doesn't. It's just like, yeah, you're just trying to get this guy on. Like you're just trying to get them here. But I think
go.
but I think that with Punk, it would make more sense. Like no one would be sitting there and being like, "Oh, why are they having Stone Cold versus CM Punk? That doesn't make sense. This is whatever." It's like, no, you can reference all the videos and stuff of them, like from 10 years ago.
And it's not only here's my thing. The only time in my eyes that it's acceptable to do a booking match like this, where it's Stone Cold, he's been out for years, and injury problems, all that, and have them be the special guest opponent for Punk or fantasy booking type match, the only place to do it is WrestleMania. If they did this at like the Royal Rumble or like a SummerSlam, it's like, all right, cool, like maybe. But because it's WrestleMania, go all out. Like this is your shows of all shows for the year, and this is your Super Bowl. Why not have a Super Bowl type matchup? You're the only place that can really do this type of thing. Like the NFL can't do Joe Montana versus Tom Brady or Pat Mahomes versus Michael Vick. Like you can't do this type of thing in real sports, and this is the time to do it. That's what makes wrestling so amazing, is that you can do this stuff and it gets over.
So SM Down says Punk doesn't even have the straight edge character anymore. It's not a character.
He
literally has straight edge tattooed on his belly.
That's
how he lives. I understand what you mean. Yeah. No, I understand what you mean. Like there was a time where he was using that like as part of his character, but I just meant like as a human being, he's straight edge.
Yeah.
And so he can people know about that. And then of course, we know that is not the case with Stone Cold. So
no. Oh man.
But anyway, so as Logan was in the ring, announcing this tournament, Kevin Owens comes out when he hears his name, because that's how he does things.
No, that's how things work in WWE.
Yeah. And I just thought it was funny. He just completely owned Logan, just telling him like how gross he is and just like everything. And I was like, Kevin is me. Like this, if I was given the opportunity, this is what I would say to Logan as well. And then of course Grayson Waller and Austin Theory come out to just, I don't know,
him.
more trash talk happens. Theory instigates Kevin to punch him in the face again, which he does, and then we get to Grayson Waller versus Kevin Owens with Logan Paul on commentary. And I think this was a pretty good match, actually. Kevin Owens is an actual beast. I don't understand him. I just don't.
Oh, he's the man.
He's so good.
He's so
and
fantastic.
Logan, I have to give a shout out to Logan on commentary. He was very entertaining. The fact that he said, Kevin inspires me to go to McDonald's. And I was like,
oh, that pop Michael Cole so bad.
I know. And the fact that he was like so focused on the fact that Kevin is not slim and trim. That was another thing that I thought was
He's
like, all
lost some
right,
weight
that's okay.
though.
No, yeah, he has. But I just thought it was
Good.
funny that like that was
Oh, yeah.
Logan's stance. Like it's just such. I get it. He's he's a heel that goes for the low hanging fruit. That's the low hanging fruit, so that's fine. But yeah, so we'll have to see what happens with Kevin Owens because they did say he broke 2 fingers, so we'll have to see. But I'm intrigued. I would like to see Kevin versus Logan more if that's what ends up happening. I would assume Kevin is probably going to be one of the like top guys in the tournament, one of the final guys. I would not be surprised about that. Then we move on to Bianca Belair versus Kairi Sane, which again, very long match,
Very
great
good
match. But was mostly just to further the tensions with Bayley and Damage Control. And I would say obviously this was Kairi's first match back in WWE, so this was supposed to be like her showing, I guess, her first showing, which I think makes the situation a little problematic about her taking the loss. But I think ordinarily that would be a problem if it weren't for the Damage Control story and the fact that she lost because of Bayley.
Mm-hmm.
Then that would be a bigger issue. Very
Because
similar
of Bayley?
to what?
I think Kyrie lost because of her own head.
I'm just saying we're supposed to believe that
supposed
Bayley.
to believe. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But
with that, then.
I feel like you could feel similar, you know, like when I was talking about Nia versus Zoe on Raw that I didn't agree with, Zoe getting pinned 2 days after having a title match. But this is different because of, you know, what comes from it. So because we're supposed to believe that Bayley didn't listen and didn't stay in the back like she was supposed to, like Io told her, and she goes out there and maybe she cost Kairi the match. What do you think they're going to be doing with Damage Control moving forward?
Oh, we're going to have a lot of little conversations, little backstage segments within Damage Control. You'll have, you know, one with the 3 of Asuka, Io, Kairi. You'll see Dakota and Bayley have a little thing, and it, you know, little jabs here and there when they are in the ring together, cutting promos and whatnot. I have a feeling though that we're gonna have like remember like the trial of Sami Zayn and the trial of the tribal chief, like that type of thing. We're gonna have a similar version of that, but with Damage Control and Bayley. And that's we're gonna see Bayley show like, no, I've been here all along and all this, and you know, I'm the real team player, and then you're gonna see the turn happen. That's just my thought.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be progressive. I don't think that it's going to happen, you know, on one episode, and I don't think it should, especially since we are so far away from the next pay-per-view. It's like they can't. What?
What? I just had an interesting thing that popped into my head. What if you have this drag out all the way to Royal Rumble, and they tell Bayley that you can't compete in the Rumble or something or whatever, blah blah blah, and then Bayley wins the Rumble, and then because Bayley wins the Rumble, you go back to that 04, 02, whatever it was with Batista. And it's like, no, go to Smack, or in this case, go to Raw, challenge Rhea. Like, we got your back. Like, then we both can be champions and all this.
And then she challenges Io.
And then Bayley does the turning, but only does turning. And this is where my dream brain comes in. After Sasha comes back and tells her, you challenge Io, I'm in your corner.
I feel like that's expecting a lot, but
it is. But I mean, CM Punk is back in WWE, so
I know, but yeah, I don't know. And then we move on to essentially, I guess, the main event, which is Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce fighting over the rights to Daddy to be on their show.
Daddy's back.
So okay with calling Randy Orton Daddy, if that's what we're gonna do from now on.
Yeah.
Only one man, I would say, in WWE who's consistently there week in, week out.
Daddy vibes.
He does really give Daddy vibes.
Yeah, I don't think we think of that in the same way, but that's okay.
I'm more envious. You're more hypnotized.
I guess so.
I'm gonna
So this had
watch
been
it.
teased all night long that Randy was going to be on SmackDown and that they were both going to be trying to convince him to sign contracts with their brands. And I wasn't surprised about what had ended up happening because we just put a video out about this and said that there was no reason basically for him to go to Raw, that he had to go to SmackDown. But before he made that decision, Pierce and Aldis are basically trying to one up each other. And I don't really know how Pierce thought he was going to win this. I really
No.
don't. When he's just
No.
like, oh, I can give you the champion. Okay. Aldis can give him the guys that beat his ass and and put him
Beautiful.
out for 18 months. Not to mention he can also give him Roman. Like, it's not the
silver
same as
platter.
Seth Rollins. Like, it's not the same. And Paul Heyman decides that he's going to join the party. Of course he
Who
is.
gave that order?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who gave that order?
And he tells Randy that he's not really going to have the right to decide because he's not coming to SmackDown and the Bloodline is going to make sure of that. So he will have to decide to go to Raw. That's when Jimmy and Solo come out and they attack Randy. But you can tell that Randy was expecting it. So he was like, ah ha ha ha. And she gets Solo out, hits Jimmy or Big Jim. They're calling him Big Jim now. I'm just like, oh my God. Hits him with an RKO. Teases that he's going to be signing with Raw, but he ends up throwing that one out and he signs with SmackDown. But what I thought was interesting was LA Knight came to his to save him.
Very interesting.
And I was happy to see this because as I was watching SmackDown, or well, even as I was seeing the updates about SmackDown, I was shocked that they didn't have LA Knight on at all. So I'm glad that even though it was literally for 2 seconds, I'm glad that they had him out. And I like that they're pairing him with Randy because I'm assuming that this means that, you know, because Royal Rumble is 7 or 8 weeks away, whatever it is at this point, we're not going to see a match for Roman's title anytime soon. If we're going to get LA Knight and Randy versus Big Jim Uso and Solo Sikoa or something in the meantime, then I'm all for that. And I love that for LA Knight. I love that. You go from like pairing with John Cena to now you're pairing with Randy Orton.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That you don't need him to have a US title because he's being paired with.
It's a different argument, but
But what I'm saying is that it's just don't you hit the panic button yet.
Yeah.
You know, he's being paired with Randy Orton, John Cena, all that. My thing though, I want to bring up Jimmy Uso is low-key becoming one of my favorite wrestlers because of how unserious this man is at all times.
I find him more entertaining than Jay, honestly. I think it's because it's like I found Jay really entertaining every week when Sammy was around and watching him try not to crack. Like, that was what I loved about Jay. Now that he can just do whatever he wants, it's like, yeah, sometimes it's funny, but like other times I'm just like, all right, whatever. And that's why I think I like Jimmy, because like he has to be serious, but you know that that's not who he is like deep inside. And so it just makes it more funny that he's like trying to be serious, but then like letting a little piece of that like funniness out, you know, like no yeet, you know, like that was like, it's so stupid, but it's so funny. So like those little moments to me are more entertaining than what we see from Jay. The only moments from Jay that I really love are the ones where he's like obviously like with Rhea, you know, like those are hilarious to me. But like, yeah, or when he was like when she got in the ring and was like bouncing around, those moments. But yeah, Jimmy's hilarious, and he's not trying, but he is.
The way he sold that RKO
after
they were rolling up the ring, like, and I watched. There was a compilation that I saw on Twitter of his most unserious moments, and they are, without a doubt, some of the best improv stuff I've seen. I mean, the first thing being after Jay, you know, interfered, whatnot, and he's going time out, out.
Yeah.
And then him on the couch, like, I'm on the injured reserve list. I can't do nothing tonight. And Roman's like, you what? He's like, I'm off. I'm good. What do you need me to do?
Do anything tonight.
And the other, just the one that gets me that we could see continuing is how he goes for the handshake and just gets left all the time by Solo. And then there's some clips you see him just finish the dap up by himself. Like, we good. Like, just little stuff like that. He's so unserious in his selling.
Yeah.
like he's one of my favorite guys on SmackDown right now. That maybe even all of WWE.
I like that they're still allowing him to do that, even though he's supposed to be like full blown heel, big member
You need it,
of the
yes.
bloodline. And, for a long time, it was basically until Sammy came around. The bloodline was very serious. And I understand why they had to be, because they were trying to establish that they were this like dominant faction that, nothing could take them down. And then the accidental involvement of Sammy lasting as long as it did ended up being like a diamond in the rough. It was like you found gold here. And so I like that they've allowed that to keep happening with Jimmy, because they could have just been like, no, we're gonna have you be very serious. But I think it makes the bloodline storyline more bearable at this point, because we've said it's basically dead because Roman's not around, and so they can't do anything really. And this makes it more entertaining than just having to be like, yep, okay, Roman's still gone and they're still trying to do something with the bloodline. Like, this actually makes it funny and interesting in that regard, I guess.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Okay, well, that was SmackDown.
No, it's SmackDown. Yay! That was SmackDown.
Yay.
Decent episode. A lot of quality moments there over quantity. We didn't see a lot happen, but with what we did see, a lot happened for future episodes and whatnot to get us hyped. So that's what I'm excited about. Comments to end the show here. Who's going to lead Damage Control? I get mixed. Sometimes it's the women's champion, and other times I get the girl.
Dakota.
That's a good question. I don't know if I see more EO being the leader, we'll say mastermind, and Dakota's the mouthpiece. But there are instances too where Dakota's leading them out, and just because she's hurt doesn't mean that she's never been in the ring. Like, she's very good in the ring. So when she gets back to that, we could see a difference there. So right now, I don't really know who.
I would love for it to be Kyrie. Because it's just like, yeah, because I think that's long-term storytelling. Like, why wouldn't she come back, join a group with her friends, and kick out the chick that took her out of WWE 3 years ago? Like, why wouldn't she do that?
That's true.
I mean, it's like, and they have that history where, yeah, EO specifically has been with Bailey for the past year and a half almost, but she's known Kyrie for a lot longer than that and been friends with her for a lot longer than that. So why wouldn't she just listen? Plus, Kyrie can be like, well, I was watching at home. Like, I saw these things. Maybe you didn't. Like, she's dead weight. She's this, she's that. I would love it for her to be like the leader of it, because I would like to think that maybe Dakota will not be completely won't completely turn on
like
Bailey,
she's
but
the Bailey sympathizer.
yeah, like, because she, they're kind of trying to have her like straddle the line as it is right now. So it'd be interesting if they keep having that happen where she's like torn. I don't know.
And Bailey low-key did bring Dakota and EO back to WWE. Like, that's a huge.
Yeah.
And then you can play off that in the rivalry. Like, there's stuff now that you can do within rivalries that you couldn't do years ago, because the fans are so much more in tuned and smarter that you gotta play to their strengths.
And WWE is now allowing them to acknowledge things that they did outside of WWE,
which they always should have. I
and
really
so it's
get
like,
annoyed with that.
we're not acting like Kyrie left 3 years ago and didn't do anything and then just came back, or that they don't know each other, that they only know each other from NXT. Like, we don't have to pretend about those things anymore.
No, when it comes to acknowledging stuff outside of WWE, where do you draw the line? Like, Japan obviously is, you should be mentioning that. AEW, I feel like we should.
They kind of do. They just don't say the name specifically. They say the other place. Like, they don't really say AEW. I don't think they should say AEW on TV.
I kind of don't either, but
I don't think they should. It's free advertisement. Don't give them free advertisement.
But okay, fair. But like,
if
I just
with Cody, then they're not going to do it with anybody. Cody was like an EVP. They're not, if they won't even, if they don't acknowledge that part for him and they don't say it out loud when they're talking about Cody, they're not going to do it for anyone else. Because why?
That's true. So that, and then finally, Nathaniel, do you think Becky should beat Rhea at WrestleMania? No. No.
I would love to see them fight at WrestleMania, but I think it depends like what they are going to be doing with Judgment Day. Because ideally, I would love for Judgment Day to still be together. And if that's the case, then I would say no, Rhea should win at Mania.
I just don't think Becky needs it.
But you can also say that Rhea doesn't. She just won the title at Mania last year. So, like,
Yeah, but she needs a win over Becky in a big stage.
I mean, I guess, but it just, I don't know. It's hard to say right now.
It is. It is hard to say. All right. That was SmackDown. We'll be back on Tuesday for the Raw Rewind. Until then, make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell notification to know when we post all of our videos and when we go live. And by all our videos, I mean all the little clips that Sara graciously cuts up, posts for you guys on the channel, so we can boost up those subscriber numbers. I think we're at we have to be close to 13 right now. I said 13 before Christmas.
1294.
1294. We're gonna get it well before Jesus's birthday. So help us get there, all right, before Christ rises again, and help us grow the channel, monetize. Super chats are awesome. Just help us make this the full-time gig so we can bring you content not only in this time slot, but all time slots. Okay, that'd be great. And we're selling WrestleMania tickets. Okay,
Yes.
we are selling. It's not that we're not going. We just are working on things, and we would like to sell this ticket, or these tickets, because there's multiple of them, not only for our benefit, but for you guys. We want to meet you guys at Mania. We want to see our peeps when we're there and get to know everyone who tunes into the show every time. We thank you so much for doing that. So DM us or hit us up on this channel if you want to hit us up on the best place to hit us up on social media, at @Pat_Pitts on Twitter and at @SMarshXO on Twitter. Please hit us up. We reasonable price, and we'll make it work. Okay, we will make it work because that's what the Champ of Thieves does. So until then, thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you gotta do is try. We will see you on Tuesday. It's backwards, but yeah!